welcome to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and we're here again today for a full review of the Macleod's Island Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. So this was kind of the interesting one. I was able to dive a little bit deeper into this. I do apologize. If you're new to the channel, I'm sorry. That's not normally how we do it, but I'm sorry. Now I'm going to invite you in. Hello, come in. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, hello, come on in. All my returning viewers, always great to see you, and thank you for your support. Now back to the show. So in the very beginning, we had quite a bit of interesting turn-ups for this this bottle. Now, the further I looked into it, the more I found out. So number one, right off the top, it is not an Islay whiskey. It does say Island, and it never said anything about that. But then when you look on the back here, it's going to tell you that it is a bit peaty. Let me see if I can find exactly what it is. I'm sorry about that. So it does come in at 43% alcohol by volume. And it just gives you generic sort of, yeah. The note is dry with a strong sea salt influence, peat, and a seemingly endless finish. That's a lot of claims. It's a lot of claims Mr. Randy's going to have to bust through here. So this comes from Ian Macleod Distillers. They have 20 brands, 19 besides this one. They have 5 expressions from this Macleod's line. You have the Highland, the Lowland, the Speyside, the Island, and the Islay. So now there's that confusion because there's the Island and the Islay, which is very confusing on the websites because they all, just like Mr. Randy, assumed that that meant it was an Islay whiskey. It's not. Okay, so now we got past a little bit of that hard, chunky part. So Mr. Randy paid just under $45 out the door for this bottle. Every other expression from the Macleod's is $45. It's actually less than $45. But this one was made in ex-bourbon barrels. And that was a bit of information that was hard to track down. And I can tell you, this is one of those Scotch that if you're a bourbon lover, you'd like this Scotch because it's going to have a lot of heavy influence from the bourbon. It's got relatively decent viscosity. I know it's not showing off much right now. Let me swirl it. Give me something. Come on, give me something. There we go. It's starting a little bit. You know what? We're just going to move on to the next step while we give that time. So we're going to break out Mr. Randy's handy dandy whiskey color scale. And off camera, I'm going to try and nail this down. What do you think? I don't think it's that dark. I think it's a little more than a copper, but kind of doesn't want to fit right into the tawny. Well, I'm going to peg it at copper. We'll just take a good copper. Copper is always good. On the nose, you're going to get bourbon first. You're going to get that sweet, oaky spice. Now that it's had time to open up, we're halfway. Now that it's had time to open up, there's a lot of bourbon influence. It is I did not get an age statement. Did not find out if there's any color added or chill filtered. I'm probably thinking because it's kind of that big conglomerate type thing like Johnny Walker. They probably do chill filter it just to appease the very few that would cry about it. And there's probably, like I said, I did find out that they were, I don't know if they were finished or if they were aged or matured in ex-bourbon barrels. That part I could not discern. Although I will have to say, I don't think it was finished. I think it was actually matured. If you know differently, please let me know in the comments. But this has such a heavy influence all throughout. It has a heavy bourbon influence. I'm definitely saying I believe this was matured in ex-bourbon casks or barrels. Yeah, It's hard to pick out the peat, but the peat's in the back of the line. When it comes to all the characteristics on the nose, it's in the back of the line. I can taste it. I can taste that saltiness on my tongue, but I don't get much of it on the nose. So let's go ahead and get to the palate then. See, it tricks me a little bit. Now we're here halfway. Now I've let it open up. I think the bourbon on the palate has eased up a little bit and given way to the Scotch. Because right off the bat, I get Scotch. But then it immediately hits you with that oak, that sweetness, and the spice. Then it kind of goes right into the peat. You do get some peat. But like I said, that bourbon comes at you first, and then the Scotch. The bourbon's on the nose. Then on the palate, now, because off the rip, I do believe I said it was more of a bourbon on the palate. On the palate, there's that, it's a good, nice, light, oily. It's got a nice, light, oil mouthfeel. So like I said, I'm trying to see if I can get the legs on the glass, but there's a little bit going on now. Now that I guess it's had time. But that sweet, the peat is hiding inside of that, like, that bourbon, that whole bourbon character is like, it's really melding in there. Let me get one more on the palate. It's nice and oily, light, sweet, like a Scotch, but then you get that sweet, oaky spiciness that you get from bourbon. And the peat, it's barely in there. Like I said, again, there's that peat at the back of the line. Let's go ahead and get a finish on this. I got to get that last bit. Entire top of the tongue just lit up. Now the tip is falling behind it. A little bit on the roof of the mouth, but not a whole lot. It seems like it's sliding right past the cheeks and going to the back to the jowls. Starting to set up camp on the top of the esophagus, at the back of the mouth, right there, back behind the back of the tongue. There's a lot of, actually there's some peat right there. There's some peat and some salty brininess. It's in the finish. And the finish is where you're going to pull that out. It's got a good finish on it. This is definitely a Scotch for bourbon lovers. If you're not big on Scotch because you got a bunch of like space sides that are really sweet, very light, kind of like what most Irish whiskey comes out as, very light, very sweet. And if you're not into that, if you like that sort of deep, dark richness, this is the kind of Scotch. Getting into the Highlands, I'm trying to figure out, because there's so many distilleries in Highlands that it varies. It's got a kind of a range in the Highlands, where Speyside doesn't have a lot of range because it doesn't have a lot of land, a lot of different climate areas. They're all kind of the same. The lowlands are a little more than the Speyside, but nothing near the Highlands. We all know about the Islas, the beautiful, beautiful things. But yeah, this is definitely a recommendation for bourbon lovers. If you want to get into Scotch, you can try this. And it actually, it's like I said, it's only a 43%. It's only 43%, which is 86 proof. It definitely tastes better than an 86 proof. I've had 86 proof bourbons and never have those again, because anything below 90 when it comes to a bourbon just doesn't carry very well. But in a Scotch, 43% can carry very well, and this one carries very well. So if you're into bourbon, looking to get into a Scotch, here is yet another Mr. Randy's recommendations. Try it out. So now this finish is finally gone. My score on this is going to be a, let's see, under 45 out the door, 43% It's a good Scotch for bourbon drinkers. Not much of a bourbon drinker anymore. I'm going to have to give this a solid 3 out of 5. Could have been strong, 3 out of 5, but I'm just not... everything was very confusing about being an island. I don't want to blame the whiskey for that because it didn't have anything to do with that. But for $45, I wanted a little more clarification on what's in the bottle, where it came from, how it was made. Yeah. So again, I don't blame the whiskey in the bottle for that, but the people who put it there, actually people who put the label on the bottle, are to be held accountable. But the whiskey itself, I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 5 because it is a good whiskey. I wouldn't say it's a good Scotch. I'd say it's an interesting bourbon, but it's not technically a bourbon. So a strong 3 out of 5. Did I say strong? No, I said solid. Solid 3 out of 5. Yeah, sorry. My fair price on this, I'd say $30-$35. $30-$35 I think would be a good spot for this to sit. And I'm really looking forward to tracking down that Islay version. Would I buy this one again? No. No, I'm going to go for their other offerings. I'm going to be looking for that Islay. I might try that Speyside, then the Highland, and then maybe wrap it up with that Lowland. Well, there it is. What do you think about Macleod's? Have you tried any of them? Which one would you recommend? And as always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. You have a good one.